Hello, everybody. Welcome to Unit 2 of our MOOC Indonesia 101. In this unit, we are going to talk about Pancasila as the philosophical basis of Indonesian cultures and norms. So we're going to start with some principles of Pancasila. So I guess maybe for you who are not Indonesians, I think it is important for you to know that Pancasila is the values, the ideological basis of Indonesian life. So most of the aspects of Indonesian lives, especially public life, uh, in relation to the relationship between Indonesians, the relationship between the state and the citizens, the way the government is run, and other public affairs are based on Pancasila, the philosophical basis of Indonesia. Okay, so we'd like to start with the principles, yeah, or the tenets of Pancasila. So before we discuss about that, as I've said before, Pancasila is used as the philosophical basis of the state as well as a socio-cultural entity. So that means that this becomes the philosophical basis of Indonesia as a socio-cultural entity. So that means Pancasila is used in regulating maybe matters that are related to socio-cultural affairs, such as the relationship between Indonesians, how people-to-people connection should be based, the manners in which we have to base our relationship with others, and so on. So there are 5 principles of Pancasila, as the name suggests. Yeah. Pancasila means panca and sila. Panca means 5. Yeah, so this is a old Javanese word, means 5. Yeah, or it is the word taken from Sanskrit. So there are many Indonesian words that are taken from Sanskrit. Yeah, so 5 is panca, and then sila is principles or tenets. Yeah. So we have 5 principles. Yeah. The first one is believe in the one and only God, or in Bahasa Indonesia it says ketuhanan yang Maha Esa. And then number 2 is just and civilized humanity, or kemanusiaan yang adil dan beradab. And then number 3 is the unity of Indonesia, or persatuan Indonesia. And then number 4 is democracy led by the wisdom of the representatives of the people, or in Indonesia it says kerakyatan yang dipimpin oleh hikmat kebijaksanaan dalam permusyawaratan perwakilan. And the last principle or tenet is social justice for all Indonesian people, or keadilan sosial bagi seluruh rakyat Indonesia. So those are 5 basic principles of Pancasila. And now we are going to discuss these 5 principles one by one. Yeah. Now, before we talk about the principles one by one, let me tell you briefly about the one who firstly proposed the idea of Pancasila, and that is President Soekarno, the first president of Indonesia. And he proposes the concept of Pancasila for the first time in his speech, yeah, delivered in June the 1st, 1945. So the first president highlight the principle of gotong royong, or mutual cooperation, So in this first speech, President Sukarno proposes the term as a genuine Indonesian term, which became the underlying principle extracted from the 5 principles of Pancasila. So according to President Sukarno, these 5 principles of Pancasila can be extracted, yeah, into one substance, namely gotong royong or mutual cooperation. And according to him, this principle should become the basis, yeah, or the characteristics of Indonesians. Yeah. So Indonesian people should be always working together, helping each other in doing things, yeah, be it in the family, be it in public life, and in other matters. And also, in relation to the principle of gotong royong, President Sukarno mentioned that the independent Indonesia at that time, in 1945, Indonesia had not yet, yeah, declared its independence. Yeah, at that time, the president, the future president, yeah, was proposing or maybe was imagining Indonesian state as a gotong royong state, yeah, in which everything needs to be carried out collectively, yeah, and then the individual interest of every individual should be put under the interest of the people. So the collective interest should be prioritized, yeah, and then this proposition was formulated by President Sukarno, yeah, um, in front of the 9%, yeah, who were selected and who were considered to be representative of Indonesian people at the time. And this 9% was called the Panitia Sembilan, yeah, or the proposition of the Pancasila was formulated into a document called Jakarta Charter. Yeah. So this is the first proposition. Yeah. This is the first formulation of Pancasila. Yeah. This was formulated before the Panitia Sembilan, and the document was called the Jakarta Charter. And those 9 persons are, you can find them on the slides, yeah. The President Sukarno himself, and then Dr. Muhammad Hatta, who later was appointed as the first vice president, and then Mr. Ahmad Subarjo, and then Abdul Kahar Muzakir, and then Abi Kusno Cokrosuyoso, and then Kiai Haji Abdul Wahid Hasim. He is the granddad, yeah, of former President of Indonesia, Abdurrahman Wahid, and then Mr. Muhammad Yamin, yeah, and then Mr. Alexander Anggris Maramis, yeah, and then the last one is Kiai Haji Agus Sadik, yeah. So those are the members, yeah, of the committee of 9, yeah. And in the document, yeah, in the document of the Jakarta Charter, the tenets of Pancasila are like what you can find, yeah, on the slides, yeah. So the first formulation of Pancasila is not like what we know today. So the tenets of Pancasila that are used by Indonesians nowadays actually are the revision, yeah, of the one in the Jakarta Charter. So the number of the principles is still 5, yeah, and they are the first one is believe in one God, yeah, but there is an additional statements, yeah, in the first principle, and that is with the obligation of its adherence of abiding by the Sharia law of Islam. So the first the original, yeah, tenet of the first principle of Pancasila actually requires Muslims, yeah, to be following the Islamic law or the Sharia law. Later, this statement or this sentence is omitted, yeah, and we are going to talk about it later. And then the second principle is humanitarianism, rights and civilized. And then the third one is unity of Indonesia. And then the fourth one is democracy or kerakyatan guided by wisdom in the consultations of the people's representatives. And the last one is social justice for all people of Indonesia. As I have already mentioned, the first principle, yeah, of Pancasila has been revised, yeah. So the statement with the obligation for its adherence of abiding by the Sharia of Islam was omitted, and so it becomes only belief in the one and only God. Yeah. So those who revise, yeah, these tenets is the Committee for the Preparation of Indonesian Independence, and that was on August 18, 1945. Yeah. In Indonesian, this committee is called PPK. Yeah. Panitia Persiapan Kemerdekaan Indonesia. And then, okay, so principally, only a statement from the first original tenet that was omitted. The other 4 tenets stay the same. Yeah. Okay. Now let's talk about the principles of Pancasila or the tenets of Pancasila one by one. The first one is believe in one and only God. Yeah. That means Indonesians believe in one supreme being. And so this, I think, suggests that Indonesia is not a secular country, it's not a secular state or an atheistic state. Instead, the state lays the principal foundation of religion, yeah, of believing in one supreme being. Yeah. So that means that, as I have said before, Indonesia is actually a religious country, yeah? And it actually, although the majority of Indonesians are Muslim, yeah, but through this principle, we can say that Indonesians should respect their fellow citizens with different religious beliefs. So that implies, yeah, so the first principle of Pancasila implies that all different religions that are officially acknowledged by the state, yeah, have the same rights, yeah, and obligations in the state, yeah. So there are different religious beliefs that are officially acknowledged, but in Indonesia, yeah, they are Islam, and then Protestant Christianity, and then Catholic, Hindu, Buddhism, and Confucianism. Yeah, maybe Confucianism is not mentioned in the slide because this is this additional Confucianism as an official religion, yeah, officially acknowledged by the state actually came just recently. And then we go on, yeah, to the second principle, yeah. which is a just and civilized humanity. This principle means that human beings should be treated with respect and dignity. So from this principle, it can be suggested that Indonesians do not tolerate any form of oppression, yeah, be it the oppression by their own people or by any other nation. And so Indonesia, of course, uh, is very much against, yeah, colonialism. And I think the commitment to just and civilized humanitarianism was in tune with the post-colonial spirit, yeah, evoked among formerly colonized countries to be sovereign states. And we know that the first president of Indonesia, President Sukarno, was one of the prominent leaders of the um, the formerly colonized countries, yeah, to fight against colonialism. Okay, and then we move on to the third principle, which is the unity of Indonesia. And so this principle affirms about the commitment that Indonesians have to make, yeah, to maintain the unity of diverse Indonesia. And I think this also the acknowledgement of the multiculturalism and diversity of Indonesia. So from this principle, it can be implied that Indonesians, yeah, have to acknowledge, yeah, the diversity and multiculturalism of the country, and that means Indonesians have to be living in harmony, yeah, with other fellow citizens, yeah, with other fellow Indonesians who have different ethnicities and religions. And also, this principle is the manifestation of the nationalist spirit, yeah, because the national collective spirit, the love on one nation and motherland, has to be prioritized above individual ones. So we can see here that Indonesians should not be individualistic. Yeah? And so individualism is not the value of Indonesia because it is not endorsed at all, yeah, in the principles of Pancasila. And then we go on to the tenet number 4, which is democracy led by the wisdom of the representative of the people. This highlights a key principle that governs decision-making process in Indonesia. Yeah, that means again, because basically gotong royong and mutual cooperation is one of the main or the basic principles of Indonesian life, then in relation to decision making, including political decision making, it has to be going through consultation, yeah, with maybe with figures, yeah, or with people who are considered to be the representatives of different groups in Indonesia. So the consultation with those different representatives is actually made in order to gain a consensus. So the consensus has to be reached after consultation has been made. So we see here and we understand here that actually voting, yeah, in which the majority, the voice of the majority is becoming the winner, is actually not recommended. Yeah, so I think it's a bit maybe contradictory, maybe if we relate it to the free election, yeah, that has happened in Indonesia, yeah, since the post-reformasi period, because it is like giving the chance for the majority of the votes to rule. Yeah. While according to the fourth principle of Pancasila, a political decision making has to be made based on consultation with representatives. But again, this becomes, I think this has become the debates maybe among different groups in Indonesia. Yeah, some people say that this is a democratic state. Yeah, Indonesia is a democratic state, so we have to follow, yeah, the modern, yeah, democracy where everybody has the right to vote, while others think that, oh, this is actually against the principle of consultation to gain the consensus, yeah, which is the one of the basic principle of Pancasila. So this becomes an interesting discussion, and it's still an ongoing discussion. Okay, now we move on to the last principle of Pancasila, which is social justice for the whole people of Indonesia. And that suggests that all Indonesians are entitled to have equitable share of welfare. And what can be learned from this principle is that this principle actually strengthens, yeah, the argument that the weak, yeah, those who are socially and economically weak, have to be protected by the state, yeah, because everybody, every Indonesian actually is entitled, yeah, to have equitable share, yeah, of Indonesian resources, because only in this way the gap between the poor and the rich can be reduced, yeah, and based on this principle, then natural resources should not be owned by individual enterprises, yeah, and the practices that are going on now actually contradict with the fifth principle, because we know that in Indonesia there are many private enterprises who control, yeah, the natural resources of Indonesia, and again this is actually against the last principle of Pancasila. And so these five principles of Pancasila are actually ideal principles, yeah, that were formulated by the founding fathers of Indonesia. Who are the founding fathers of Indonesia? Yeah, Soekarno, Muhammad Hatta, and then Syahrini Tan Malaka, and other figures, yeah, national figures, who have proposed, yeah, maybe the ways the state of Indonesia need to be run, and they also lay some basic foundations of the state. Okay, so I think that's all about Pancasila and about this unit, and we can go on with the following unit, and I hope you can be enjoying this material. If you think you need some further readings, I strongly recommend you to read these two resources. Okay, thank you, and see you in the next unit.